Dangerous goods. Most people come in contact with small amounts of dangerous goods every day. But as a truck driver or carrier, you are often responsible for transporting larger quantities of dangerous goods as part of your job. In 1985, a new set of laws came into effect governing the transportation of dangerous goods across Canada. The purpose of these laws is to protect the public whenever dangerous goods are being transported by road, rail, sea, or air. The regulations are there in case an accident happens. They were written to make sure that the proper information is provided to people who come into contact with dangerous goods. If an accident does happen, safety marks such as placards on a vehicle or labels on packages will help police and firefighters to determine the kind of hazard they're dealing with. The shipping document will provide more detailed information about the type and quantity of goods involved. Reporting of accidents, spills, or loss of dangerous goods shipments is important in protecting health, safety, and the environment. Training of shippers, carriers, and emergency response personnel is an essential element in this information process. Proper training ensures that safety marks are correctly used and easily recognized, that the shipping document is complete and accessible, and that the correct people are promptly notified of incidents involving dangerous goods. As a truck driver, you are responsible for the dangerous goods you're transporting. Your responsibilities include carrying your certificate of training, making sure that dangerous goods shipments are labeled and marked, placarding your truck if necessary, checking the shipping document to make sure the information is complete and consistent with the safety marks, delivering a copy of the document with the goods, and reporting accidents or spills involving dangerous goods to the proper authorities. Dangerous goods will travel on our highways more safely if each person involved in their transport understands and accepts their responsibilities. Before you accept a shipment of dangerous goods, the consignor or shipper has several responsibilities in preparing the shipment. The shipper must be trained and certified, and before offering dangerous goods for transport must know the classification of the goods, label and mark packages or small containers, provide placards if they're needed, and complete a shipping document. It's up to you to check and make sure the shipper has done these things before the dangerous goods are loaded. Your driver's handbook contains a checklist which will help you confirm that the shipment has been classified, labeled, marked, placarded, and documented in accordance with the transportation of dangerous goods regulations. Once you have accepted the shipment, it becomes your responsibility until you transfer it to another carrier or deliver it to the consignee. These regulations are important. They're intended to increase safety and protect the lives of the public and to prevent or minimize damage to property and the environment. The penalties for not complying can be very severe, bringing fines of up to $50,000 for a first offense, $100,000 for subsequent offenses, or jail sentences of up to 2 years. Different groups of people have been given the authority to inspect shipments to make sure that the dangerous goods regulations are being followed. These may include dangerous goods inspectors appointed by the federal or provincial government, police officers, and weigh scale operators. These inspectors have the right to enter and search vehicles or places used to transport, load, or unload dangerous goods, to seize and hold shipments, to take samples of goods, to make copies of shipping documents, and to refuse entry into Canada of dangerous goods shipments which do not meet Canadian requirements. This training course includes video modules covering the 9 classes of dangerous goods: safety marking, labeling, and placarding, proper documentation, what to do in case of an accident or spill. Your instructor will provide additional information and will point out the sections in your driver's handbook which apply to each topic. Keep this handbook with you for quick and easy reference. If you're not sure of the requirements for a particular dangerous goods shipment, look it up. If the handbook doesn't answer your question, check with your employer. Safe transportation of dangerous goods requires knowledge and common sense. Check the goods for marking and labeling. Put the correct placards on your truck. Make sure that the shipping documents are completed, and drive carefully.
The transportation of dangerous goods regulations are designed to protect the public from the hazards of transportation accidents involving dangerous goods. An essential element of this protection is determining what type of hazard is involved. Emergency response crews dealing with this accident will take different precautions depending on whether the drums contain flammable or poisonous or corrosive material. For this reason, dangerous goods are separated into 9 classes according to the type of danger they present. Canada has adopted the international system of classification for the thousands of different products and substances that are transported on our highways. Our 4-digit product identification number for a product is usually the same as the number that is used throughout the world to describe that product. In fact, it may be called a UN or United Nations number. If a product is classified as dangerous goods, a certain shipping name must be used on the container and on the shipping document to describe it. This shipping name may not be the same as its trade name. As a truck driver, it is not your responsibility to classify dangerous goods or to determine their product identification numbers or shipping names. It's up to the manufacturer to conduct the laboratory tests which will properly identify each product. Each consignor must obtain this information before offering a shipment for transport and will pass it on to you on a shipping document, as well as in the form of labels, placards, and other safety markings. The classification chart on the inside front cover of your driver's handbook will help you to understand the different symbols, colors, and numbers shown on safety marks. It's very important that you are aware of the type of hazards presented by each of the 9 classes of dangerous goods. Some goods are dangerous in more than one way, in which case both classes must be shown on the shipping document. The primary risk is listed first, and the subsidiary or secondary risk follows in brackets. For example, sulfuric acid is primarily corrosive, class 8, but it is also considered environmentally hazardous, so this secondary risk is shown in brackets. Packing groups indicate the degree of danger and are always shown in Roman numerals. Packing group 1 means great danger. Packing group 2, moderate danger. And packing group 3 means minor danger. The only place you're likely to see the packing group listed is on the shipping document. Let's take a closer look at each of the 9 classes. Class 1 is explosives. Anyone working with explosives must be specially trained and certified beyond the requirements of the transportation of dangerous goods regulations. There are 5 divisions within Class 1, depending on the type of explosive and how it's packaged. Explosives are also assigned to compatibility groups. Class 1, Division 5, Compatibility Group D, called 1.5D, can be stored and transported with other explosives from Compatibility Group D. Class 2, compressed gases, are transported under pressure and may be liquefied, dissolved, or refrigerated. Class 2 is separated into 4 divisions, depending on the type of gas. Flammable gases such as propane and butane fall into Division 1 of Class 2. 2.2 gases such as nitrogen are identified by a green label and are not flammable, poisonous, or corrosive. They are hazardous only because they're compressed. Gases in Division 3 are poisonous. Cyanogen gas used as a fumigant and as a rocket propellant is classified as a 2.3, a poison gas. 2.4 gases are corrosive. Chlorine is one of the most common examples. Class 3, flammable liquids, are separated into divisions according to the temperature at which their vapors will ignite. This is called their flash point. Liquids which have a flash point below -18 degrees Celsius are very flammable and are in Division 1. An example is gasoline, with a flash point of about -40. Division 2 liquids aren't quite as flammable, with flash points ranging from -18 degrees to +23 degrees Celsius. Methanol and naphtha are classified as 3.2. Division 3, liquids with a flash point above 23 degrees present the lowest risk of all the flammable liquids. Turpentine, for example, has a flash point of 35 degrees Celsius and is included in Division 3. Class 4 has 3 divisions, each indicated by a different label or placard. Division 1 contains flammable solids, such as strike-anywhere matches. Division 2 substances are spontaneously combustible, like oily rags. And Division 3, called dangerous when wet, includes products like calcium carbide, which is used to generate acetylene gas. Class 5 has 2 divisions. Oxidizers in Division 1 may contribute to the combustion of other materials. Examples are potassium permanganate and ammonium nitrate fertilizer. 5.2, organic peroxides can be very unstable and sensitive and may react violently with other substances. Class 6 includes Division 1, poisons, and Division 2, infectious substances. Poisons, such as some pesticides, can cause death or injury if they are swallowed, inhaled, or absorbed through the skin. 6.2 substances, like infectious laboratory samples, may cause disease in animals or humans. Dangerous goods in Class 7 are radioactive, and anyone involved in their handling or transport must have special training and certification. Class 8 contains corrosive materials, which can be extremely harmful to skin and may corrode metals or ignite combustibles. The most widely used industrial chemical in North America is a corrosive, sulfuric acid. Class 9 includes 9.1, miscellaneous products like asbestos, which have a hazard not covered by any of the other 8 classes. 9.2, environmentally hazardous substances. And 9.3, specific dangerous wastes. The colors, symbols, and numbers of the classification system, the shipping names, and the product identification numbers all play a part in the identification of dangerous goods. Remember that as a driver, you are not responsible for classifying dangerous goods, but by recognizing the hazards associated with each of the 9 classes, you will be making the transportation of dangerous goods safer for you and for the public.
To anyone who comes in contact with dangerous goods, safety marks are extremely important. Placards, labels, and markings provide an immediate visual indication of the type of danger. This can be critical to emergency response people at the scene of a highway accident. Placards on a vehicle can warn police and firefighters from a distance that dangerous goods are involved and help them determine how to approach the truck, initiate a rescue, or evacuate the area. For this reason, when placards are required, they must appear on all four sides of a vehicle, visible from any direction. Labels are used on boxes, cylinders, drums, and other containers. By now, you are familiar with the colors, symbols, and numbers on these labels, which indicate the classification of the contents. To be effective, labels need to be visible, so they can't be put on the bottom of a package. If packages are going to be stacked during transport, the shipper must put the label on the side. Large packages, such as crates, may require labels on opposite sides. In addition, packages and small containers will be marked with the shipping name and product identification number of the contents. It's the shipper's responsibility to determine the classification of a product or substance and to apply the correct labels and markings. It's also up to the shipper to consult the transportation of dangerous goods regulations to determine if placards will be required and to provide these placards to you if necessary. As a carrier, you should make sure that the labels and markings are in place before accepting a shipment of dangerous goods. If placards are required, they must be attached to your vehicle before loading begins. The Safety Marks section of your driver's handbook contains general information about the use of placards, and specific placarding guidelines for each class of dangerous goods can be found in the reference section. In general, placards are only required for dangerous goods shipments of over 500 kilograms, or about 1,100 pounds. However, any quantity of poison gas, corrosive gas, organic peroxides, water-reactive substances, and radioactive materials must be placarded, as well as shipments of waste. If the dangerous goods are being shipped in bulk, or if the entire load consists of one product, your truck must display not only placards, but also the product identification number. The PIN can appear on the placard or on an orange panel near the placard. If a truck contains a load of dangerous goods with different classifications in a placardable quantity, it may be possible to use a danger placard rather than the placards indicating each class. If you're not sure which placards are required, follow the guidelines in your handbook. Safety marks play an important part in the identification of dangerous goods. These placards, labels, and markings must remain in place as long as any danger exists. Placards must not be removed until the vehicle is completely free of any hazardous residues. A tank truck which has been hauling dangerous goods would remain placarded until the tank is cleaned or purged. If safety marks are lost or damaged during transport, it's up to you to replace them. It's helpful to use the checklist before transporting shipments which contain dangerous goods. Make sure the safety marks are in place and drive carefully.
The shipping document that must accompany every shipment of dangerous goods contains information which can be important to anyone who comes into contact with the goods during transport. As a driver, you need information about the dangerous goods in order to transport them safely. And for emergency response personnel, the information on the shipping document could be critical. At the scene of a highway accident, police and firefighters will be able to respond more effectively if they know the types of goods, the quantity, and who to contact for more specific information. This shipping document doesn't have to be a special form, except for shipments of hazardous waste. Just about any waybill, trip ticket, manifest, or pro-bill can be used as long as it's a numbered form. It is the shipper's responsibility to complete the shipping document. Before accepting the shipment, you should check the document to make sure it's complete. Once again, the checklist in your driver's handbook will help. During transport, the shipping documents must be carried in the cab of the truck within your reach. Whenever you leave your vehicle, the documents must be put on the driver's seat or in the pocket of the driver's door, just in case the information is needed for emergency response. If you detach a trailer containing dangerous goods and leave it in a supervised parking area, give the documents to the person in charge. If the area is unsupervised, the documents must be left in a waterproof receptacle which is attached to the trailer and easily seen. When you deliver the goods, you must give a copy of the shipping document to the consignee and keep a copy for yourself, since everyone involved, the shipper, carrier, and consignee, must keep a copy of the shipping document for 2 years. If your truck still contains hazardous residues after unloading the dangerous goods, the words "empty, last contained" must be added to your copy of the shipping document, and this must stay with the truck until it has been cleaned or purged. Because the shipping document plays such a valuable role in the identification of dangerous goods, it is very important that it contains all of the required information. The documentation section of your handbook contains a list of the basic items which must be included. The document must be dated and signed by the shipper. It must show the shipper's name and address, the consignee's name and address, and the name of the carrier. The description of the dangerous goods must appear in a certain order. First, the shipping name. Then the classification. Next, the product identification number. And finally, the packing group. Somewhere on the document, the total mass or volume of the dangerous goods must be shown, along with the number of packages. And if placards are required, their type and number must be indicated. A 24-hour contact number for the shipper must be included. These points are included on your checklist. Additional information may be required by the regulations, depending on the type and quantity of goods. Even though it's the shipper's responsibility to complete the documentation for dangerous goods, you should be aware of the basic information which this shipping document must contain. Keep in mind that on the highway, you're the one who may be questioned by a dangerous goods inspector, and if the documentation is incomplete or incorrect, you're the one who could be delayed. Dangerous goods regulations are in place in order to protect the public. However, in case of an emergency, you may be the one who benefits by having the proper documentation. And remember, a safety-conscious driver drives safely.
What would you do if you were the truck driver involved in this accident? Under the Transportation of Dangerous Goods Act and regulations, you would have a responsibility to report the occurrence and to take emergency measures to prevent any further danger to public safety or property. What is a dangerous occurrence? A spill or leak of dangerous goods in a large enough quantity to threaten health, life, property, or the environment is one type of dangerous occurrence and must be immediately reported. These reportable quantities vary depending on the class of dangerous goods and are listed in the reference section of your handbook. Other types of dangerous occurrences include damage to a bulk container and an accidental explosion or fire involving dangerous goods. As well, there are special reporting requirements for damaged or missing shipments of explosives, radioactives, or infectious substances. Whose responsibility is it to report a dangerous occurrence? The person who is in charge of the dangerous goods at the time of the occurrence is the one who must report it. If an accident happens on the highway involving your truck or its cargo of dangerous goods, it's up to you to decide whether a dangerous occurrence has taken place, and if so, to report it. Who must be notified? Your driver's handbook contains a list of people who must be immediately notified in case of a dangerous occurrence. The local authorities must be informed, as well as your employer, the owner of the vehicle, if that's a different person, and the owner of the dangerous goods. After you have reported the dangerous occurrence and taken the appropriate emergency measures, your employer has a duty to complete a dangerous occurrence report and send it to the federal government within 30 days. The transportation of dangerous goods regulations may not prevent accidents from happening, but the immediate reporting of any dangerous occurrence will help lessen the risk to the public.
That's methanol. We've identified that. Breaker 19.
This training course has outlined your responsibilities under the transportation of dangerous goods regulations, and your driver's handbook will provide an on-the-job reference to the guidelines you've been given. As a truck driver, you play an important role in the safe transport of dangerous goods. Take the time to make sure that the dangerous goods you carry are completely identified through classification, safety marking, and documentation. Report dangerous occurrences immediately, and drive carefully.